Lower back pain is probably one of the most common issues that all of us face from time to time. The statistics show like 9 out of 10 people will experience low back pain in their lifetime. Basically, everybody, you've probably felt it. I've felt it. No matter how much yoga we do, things are going to happen. Stress is going to build up. We're going to have imbalances at times. And how do we work with those imbalances when they arise? Well, that's what this series is all about. This is the Release Tension from Head to Toe series. My name is Jeremy Devins of Quiet Mind Yoga, and today I'm going to show you how to work with low back pain so you can relieve that tension quickly and easily. So we'll start by laying down on our mats and do a short practice together, starting by hugging your knees in towards your body and just gently rocking side to side, massaging your lower back. So taking relaxed, slow belly breaths here, easing into this area. So if it's hurting right now, then this stuff that we're doing here will probably help relieve some tension. And I encourage you to just be really gentle and listen to your body. Do what works for you. I'll give you lots of options as we go. So from here, we'll come back to the center. Hands on your knees. And now press your knees forward as you inhale and pull your knees in towards your body as you exhale. So about 2 to 3 seconds on the inhale. About 2 to 3 seconds on the exhale. Maybe longer if you're a little more experienced with yoga and breathing practices. So here what we're doing is tilting the pelvis. And this helps to slowly release some tension in the lower back, sacrum, and the lumbar spine. So really gently easing into this area. And this might feel really like nothing for you, and that's okay. That's kind of the idea. It should feel really simple and easy. All right, so now we'll come back to feet on the floor, knees bent, feet on the floor, setting up like you would go into a bridge pose. And we'll use our breath to inhale and peel one vertebrae at a time up into a bridge. And then one vertebrae at a time as you exhale down to the floor. Again, about 2 to 3 seconds on the inhale, 2 to 3 seconds on the exhale. And doing your best to feel each vertebrae of your spine lifting and lowering. So what we're doing with these movements is just bringing awareness to this area and gently starting to activate the glutes, which help support the back, helping open the front of the hips, the hip flexors, which when they're tense, if we're sitting a lot, can pull on your spine and cause low back pain. And now it's just one of many possible causes. We'll explore some of the other possible things as we go here. We'll come up into the bridge and hold that. Now, activating in your glutes, not using your lower back as best you can. Your lower back is active a little bit here, but we're not trying to work from there. We're using the strength of our glutes and hamstrings and the legs to support the low back here. And then we'll slowly release, relaxing the glutes and hamstrings. And bring your knees in for a happy baby pose, holding outside your knees, shins, or feet. Now, if you do more and it feels like painful and too much, then do less, so it feels easier and more manageable. If you're more experienced, more open, you can grab outside the feet. And if you feel good there, you might stay still or move side to side. You might extend one leg at a time, easing into your hamstrings, which is another potential cause of low back pain. If there's a weakness or tightness in the hamstrings, that could be pulling on the low back as well. All this stuff is deeply interconnected. So it's rare to say there's one particular cause of low back pain, but in the anatomy of it, the low back is this sort of center point where a lot of muscles come together, a lot of bones there, a lot of cartilage there. So all that stuff can create tension. All that stuff can overcompensate for other movements, and it can become weak from sitting a lot. So now we'll let our feet down to the floor and move the hips over to the right and your knees in to your body to your left. And you might just stay there stacking the legs, or you cross your right knee over your left. To get the core here, you can have your knees hover off the ground. Now try each of those, see which one feels best for your body, and stay with that a few breaths here. Again, slow, relaxed breaths to your lower belly. Now, this is one of those shapes where you might feel inclined to sort of push yourself to go deeper and just listen to your body. That might feel like it's actually causing more tension and stress in your back, then don't do it. If it feels great, that's fine. Again, always listen to your body and adjust to do more or less as it feels best for you. We'll start to untwist, coming back to the center, and move your hips back to the center. And now hips to the left side of your mat, knees into the right. And we do that so we sort of have a neutral pelvis and focus on the twisting of the middle and lower spine where this tension might be in your lower back. So again, any variation is fine. And our bodies hold stress asymmetrically. So you might do a different version on this side. It might look and feel different on this side. Very common, very likely your low back pain is more on one side than the other. But if it's the same on both sides, you might do the same pose on both sides. We'll stay here a breath more or two. And then we'll come back to the center and move over to hands and knees. Just a couple more movements here working with this area. So from hands and knees in all directions, freeing up motion any way that feels good for your back. So your low back pain could be muscular, skeletal, it could be stress. It's a lot of factors to consider. So I like to explore lots of different movements and see which ones work for you. And it might be different today versus tomorrow. So you got options to work with. Now from hands and knees, we'll move into a cow pose, arching the back, lifting your tail and chin. And then a cat pose as you exhale, tucking your pelvis and chin. So inhaling to cow, and exhaling to cat. So this is similar to what we did earlier with the bridge, but now got a little more freedom in the middle and upper back, a little more freedom in the pelvis to move with your breath here. We'll come back to a neutral spine and come back to sitting on your heels if this works for you. Otherwise, you might have a block under your tail, or you could sit cross-legged, and that's okay too. But for what we're doing here, if you could sit kneeling, that's ideal with this, because we're going to cross our arms, hold hands on shoulders, and round the back here. So any amount, elbows towards your belly, chin towards your chest, and head towards your knees. And then we'll add a little movement here to your right side, kind of leaning to your right in a little bit of a side bend. And then again, back to the center and over to your left side. So we're doing like a half circle here. Back to center, over to your right side in the side bend. And then back to center, over to your left side. So freeing up some movement in the spine. And we do it from this kneeling position. Ideally, we'll come back to center, because that takes away any stretching of the lower body, the hamstrings and glutes, and you can just focus on moving the lower back. And now we'll cross arms and lift the heart into a back bend, any amount, lifting elbows, lifting chin. And then we'll come back down, all the way down to the stomach on your belly. And this Sphinx pose, elbows under your shoulders, might feel amazing. So again, every back pain is different. And if this is what feels great for you, then this might be the thing to regularly practice to help you relieve your back pain. Just holding Sphinx pose, spending some time here if you're like working on your phone or devices, spending a few minutes here, not just always sitting in the same position. Getting regular movement throughout your day, of course, helps a lot as well. Now here we work on activating the core, which helps support your low back. So from the Sphinx pose, we'll do these roll-ups, inch by inch, just like we did in the bridge pose. You exhale, your ribs lift, your hips lift, and then you might stop at your knees or lift your knees into a forearm plank. So it's an inhale to lower down inch by inch, and an exhale to raise up inch by inch. So continue with your breath, and the intention here is to activate your core so your low back can relax. Our bodies work in these pairs of movements where if the front is contracting, it helps the back be able to relax, and vice versa. So if your back is really tight and tense, your core might be really weak and underused, which is very common, very normal. No shame, no problem. But here's how we can work on balancing that back out. And then you can hold the forearm plank longer if you want. A little more activation. Then we'll give that a rest all the way down to the belly. And we'll work on a locust pose here, which could start as a baby cobra. Your hands beside your shoulders, elbows beside your ribs, and you just work on inhaling to lift your heart, exhaling to lower and relax the muscles of your back, inhaling to lift, exhaling to lower. And you can add on to this lifting your legs and reaching your arms back, locust pose, and exhaling to lower, head to one side, inhaling to lift, head to center, exhale to lower, head to the other side, inhale to lift. Head lowers, turning back to the first side. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Head turns to the other side. We'll come back to hands and knees. Move the spine any way that feels good. And we'll move back to sitting in a comfortable position. All right, so these are some things that may be helpful to relieving your low back pain. If you found any of them particularly helpful, let me know in the comments. And if you found it was not what you were looking for, there are dozens more things to work with the low back. It can be a really tricky area, and it can be a really simple area sometimes. So you've got to really listen to what your body needs and find the things that work best for you. But I'll have more in future videos because there's so much to talk about the lower back, because it's such an interesting area of the body where so many things come together and it can cause stress and tension in a lot of ways. And there's the energetic part of it as well, which I'll cover in future videos, which is a whole other topic. But we want to be aware of what works to reduce the tension and pain in the back, what things might be causing the tension and pain in the back, any repetitive stress movements throughout the day. Ultimately, this area is likely to experience tension and stress and pain at some point, because 9 out of 10 people experience that. And when you do, you can use this video to help you feel if any of these things help. And future videos I'll share to work on other areas and other ways to work with this. So if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see more of. I look forward to sharing more with you in the next video of the Release Tension to Head to Toe series, which is all about the hips. This is a whole other area that can be related to low back pain. So if you have low back pain, definitely watch that video because you'll probably find some things that help release tension there. But really watch all the videos because everything is deeply interconnected, and you may find that working on tension in your feet helps relieve tension in your back and tension in your neck. That's just the way it is and the way everything's connected sometimes. So I look forward to sharing more with you in next videos in this series.